So, in our series, we're talking about why church. Why church is important. And in part four, we're going to talk about what the church is supposed to be, the biblical model of church, what makes the church so beautiful and so wonderful, and why it's worth fighting for and changing for, and why it's worth all the effort to see, because it really is a beautiful thing. And the biblical church, I've heard sometimes people mockingly or call it the Christian communism church. But that's really not the idea at all. In communism, everyone's equal. But as we see in the early church, people had different amounts, and some were rich and some were poor, and some sold their things to help those in need. The overwhelming recognition in the early church was that no one owned everything, that everything was not owned by each other, but everything was owned by Jesus Christ, that all your possessions were owned by him. And as you looked at your brother or your sister in need, you would think, what would Jesus do to help this person? And then you would naturally use Jesus's possessions to do that. And in modern sense, that's exactly what we want in a church. We want people to recognize that all their money, all their time, all their life, all their creativity belongs to God, and naturally look around at the physical and spiritual needs of their brothers and sisters and community, and then say, well, how would Jesus use what he's given me to reach those things? And then also another important part about the beauty of the church is that the church is designed primarily to share the gospel, the good news with the world, that they don't have to try harder or be better or be good enough to reach God, but that God came to us. Jesus Christ came down and died in our place, that we might be saved. If we'll cry out to Jesus and say, Lord, here am I, save me, I can't be good enough on my own, he's promised to do that. That's the message of the church. And so when the church is at its best, it's a group of people trying to accomplish this mission to share this good news with the world, that they don't have to do a bunch of religious obligations or clean up their life enough to be saved, but that Jesus loves them already, and all they do is have to cry out to him. And then also they're people who recognize that everything they have belongs to God, and they freely give it to others. That's certainly something worth fighting for. That's the vision of the church that's biblical and beautiful.